Hey guys, welcome to the 21 day challenge. What I wanted to do today is just run through the nutrition manual with you to ensure that I can answer any questions that you may have and make sure it's all very clear to you. Now, the nutrition part of this program is super important, so it's very uh, integral that you get onto this straight away. I'd love for you to have your manual with you as I go through this. I'm just going to go through page by page and kind of explain it to you. So first of all, just a bit of an intro. Firstly, congratulations taking on the challenge. Looking forward to seeing some awesome results. As it says here, the main aim is to get you to eat the right foods at the right times. Okay, we want you to have more energy. We want you to burn more fat. We want you to have more time and tone and definition in your muscles. The whole idea is we want you to look great and lose a bit of weight and feel great at the same time. Okay. So it's really important that you actually follow this process, okay? One of the biggest things we find is not necessarily the content, but it's the implementation, okay? So I guarantee you have all of the info here. It's just a matter of following it. I refer to it like a GPS, okay? If you're in a car with a GPS, all the coordinates are programmed in. All you need to do is follow it. So that's what we've done here. We've set up your GPS. Now you need to follow it. Okay, so first thing is the tracking system. So what we do there, for us, this is all based around habits, okay? And we've picked the six most important habits. So protein, plants, water, technology before bed, movement, so getting in 10,000 steps, and then actual structured exercise. Week 2, we add in a bonus, which is to take your vitamin D, your fish oils, and your multivitamins. And then week 3, we add in another bonus, which is to fast for at least 12 hours between dinner and breakfast. Okay, the idea behind the fast is that it prolongs our fat burning time and allows us to deal with hunger. Often I think we're not actually hungry, it's just perceived hunger. So the easiest way there, if you have dinner at 6 at night, don't eat again until 6 in the morning. And if you put specific time frames on that, I find it works really well. So every day you get one of these points correct, you'll give yourself a 1, if not a 0. So in week 1, each day you'll get a score out of 6. So at the end of the week, you'll have a score out of 42. The aim is not necessarily to be 100% perfect, 42, but as close to that as possible. Okay? The next part of the program here is our fat funeral day. Now, this is a day ideally in the middle of the week or something that fits in really well with your schedule, probably a busier day, where what we're going to do is we're just going to cut your meals back. So we're going to have one smoothie and one main meal. We're going to prolong that first meal so it's later in the day. So ideally, probably lunch and dinner. So it is a little bit of practicing some time restricted eating or fasting early in the morning. Biggest things I find is that if you do find you're getting hungry, it's mainly a psychological thing, and it's going to be something just that you haven't done before. So what we want to do is make sure that you're drinking extra water. Okay, I'd add an extra litre in by 12 noon. Sparkling water, mineral water, soda water can be very beneficial here. Just add some lime or lemon can be great. Or tea or coffee is also great, but just beware of the milk and sugar. We want to stay away from that. In terms of basic hunger strategies, similar to what I spoke about there, in general, we say double your intake of plants. So vegetables and salads, double what you're currently having, okay? I guarantee what you're currently having is not enough, okay? If that doesn't work, drink 600 mils of water 15 to 20 minutes before a meal. Increase your protein portion by about 25%. And then last but not least, have a vegetable smoothie or a vegetable soup as an entree to your meal. So what we're trying to do is actually fill you up with nutrients, with goodness, with hydration before we have the meal. We have planned a section in here for treats. So we've planned 2 treats per week. A few guidelines on them. 100 calories or less. Okay, choc paddle pop is my go-to. I love it. 78 calories, I think it is. And it's portioned out. So the biggest thing is if I bought a tub of ice cream, to portion that out becomes very hard. If I just buy one chocolate paddle pop, there's my 78 calories. Now you can throw this in wherever you want, but my recommendation is make sure that you're not having this when you're hungry, okay? Maybe have it after you've had a really good meal. If we get into the perfect plate, this is a really big part of what we're practicing here. I think the visual's fantastic. So if you look at your plate, half of your plate should be vegetables, okay? Ideally, green is best, so get as many green veggies on there as possible. About a quarter to a third of your plate then wants to be protein. So protein generally comes from meat, fish, eggs, and the like. And then we fill the rest up, which is about 20 to 25%, with either some dense carbs or some fats. So you can see here the portions become very, very important. Veggies number one, protein number two, and then we just fill the rest up with whatever fits into your liking. Now, obviously, on the meal plans, we've already planned this out for you. If you want to make slight modifications, this is what I want you to follow. So the easy way is take a picture of your plate, and you'll be pretty aware of what's happening there. The next part is our 6 S's, okay, and this is how we break the meals down. So smoothies, soups, salads, scrambles, stir fries, and snacks. And there's a whole lot of information there. This just correlates back to your recipe book. So we've put all your meals into these categories. So essentially, breakfast is a combination of either smoothies or scrambles. We've got your snack meal, and then we break up between the soups, the salads, and the stir fries for lunch and dinner. Okay, pretty simple. We just want to systemize this as much as possible and make it as easy as possible for you. What you'll also note there is that your dinner meal turns into your lunch meal the next day. So what we want to do is make sure you're preparing more food in advance, and that way you don't have to cook as often. So make sure that you have enough for dinner for lunch the next day, and even extra that you can put it in the fridge or the freezer as an emergency stash. Okay, we go through the guidelines for meal planning here. So we just break it down into protein. Generally depends on how frequently you're eating. But a serve for a guy would be 140 to 180 grams of cooked weight, and a female 80 to 110 of cooked weight. And just note that your meat will generally decrease by about 20% when you cook it, okay? So 100 grams raw would be about 80 grams cooked. Carbohydrates, we break it into a couple of different categories. One is fibrous, okay, so that's all our veggies, like we saw in our perfect plate. We want to eat as much of them as possible. Then the dense stuff that has a bit higher carb content, we're looking at fruits, and the dense carbs, which are sweet potato, rice, beans, etc., etc. Now, depending on your specific body composition and your goal, it's not about totally eliminating these foods, but it is about controlling your portions. So remember, always refer back to that perfect plate. Our third macronutrient that we look at are fats. An easy way is a thumb size, or a thumb size portion is what the fats. So think about, avocados or nuts or oils and those kind of things. A thumb size portion is what you want to have. Don't go overboard on these things because they are very energy dense. We've included an awesome shopping list there for you, broken down into the different categories. So you have some flexibility to pick and choose what you want here. We then go into how much protein. So protein is a very integral part. Like we said before, veggies are number one, protein's number two. So we're looking at 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of your target body weight. If your target body weight is, say, 60 kilos, then we're looking at anywhere from 90 to 120 grams of protein per day. How much fat should you eat? We're looking for 5 to 15 grams. Think about that thumb. Just have a thumb size at every meal. Now, if you actually put your nuts together in a thumb, it's not that big, okay? So often I find we overeat on these portions very easily. And in terms of carbs, that's our fibrous carbs. Like we said, the plants, eat them as much as possible. And then the dense carbs, that's more of your fruits and sweet potato, any wraps we've included there, maybe a little bit of rice, all these kind of things we want to include around training. So ideally you earn the right to these types of foods, okay? If you train hard and you lift some weights, and you follow the program that we've got for you, then you can throw in some dense carbs. If you're just quite inactive during the day, or you're just doing a cardio-based session, then you don't need as much of this stuff, okay? If fat loss is your goal. Water is really, really important. One of the tips, obviously, is to get in a certain amount by 12 noon. I find that's very, very helpful for hunger later in the day. and also to help the body drop body fat. Digestion becomes important. We recommend here having apple cider vinegar before your meals. We also recommend when you wake up having some fresh lemon in water with some salt. It's a great way to kickstart the metabolism and get your adrenal system functioning really well in the morning. Fiber and veggies, this is where we get our fiber. A lot of people think bread is fiber. At the end of the day, vegetables are actually your best sources of fiber. Additional to that, a couple of things that are really good. So chia seeds, psyllium powder, and some flaxseed meal. Now you can turn that into a little bit of a paste. You can add it into your smoothies, which is exactly what I do. It turns it into a nice little thick shake, and away you go from there. Vegetarians, vegans, pescatarians, not much has to change. We're still looking at the same principles. The main thing is, where are your protein sources coming from? So what we find is that a lot of vegans, vegetarians, pescatarians overconsume on carbohydrates and underconsume on protein. So we just want to make sure that you're getting enough protein in, and it's just about modifying. It is often that you need a supplement, so either a protein supplement or some collagen powder. So essentially think increase your veggies, increase your protein, and just reduce your dense carbs a little bit, and that is a really good way. A couple of tips here at the end of the manual. So one is eating out. So we want to teach you how to eat out. You probably know the foods that you shouldn't be eating when you're out. It's just about planning ahead. So one thing is, if you're going out, make sure you check the menu or the before you go, and pre-plan what you're going to have. Don't get caught up in the entrees, and you have the ability to tell the waiter what you want with a meal. Okay, if it comes with chips, tell them you don't want chips, you want extra salad. Okay, if you're getting sauces, make sure you get sauce on the side. If you're getting a salad, find out what's in it. Get your dressing on the side as well. So that's the big ones. Get your dressings and sauces on the side. Replace healthier options, so extra vegetables or salad. And just check the preparation. Is it grilled fish or is it fried fish, for example? And then finally, alcohol. We recommend staying off the alcohol for this 21 days. Moving forward, alcohol is not inherently bad in small amounts. It generally then comes down to, what do you do when you drink? Do you eat more high energy foods? Do you not exercise? Do you not sleep as well? So they all kind of balance out. But essentially, the clearer the liquid, the better. Drink in a tall glass, not a short glass, and stay away from the sugary-based additives. So, a vodka lime soda is going to be a whole lot better than a vodka lemonade. If you put it in a tall glass, it's going to be even better. All right, guys, so there's a bit of an overview of the 21-day challenge. If you do have any questions, please feel free to get in contact with myself or the appropriate people at your club. Wishing you all the best. And like I said at the start, follow that GPS, and I guarantee you're going to get some awesome results.